This week on Worldwide Gaming, pointing sticks at things.
Ziggurat is a nice looking game and it's fun to play, especially if you're interested in games in the same vein as The Binding of Isaac.
Arguing about video games.
Pioneering the genre from the beginning.
Would you be strong?
Ryan becomes a shark.
Gives players a chance to explore the unknown, and that feels like it evokes a little bit of the sense of beauty.
Hello and welcome to Worldwide Gaming. I'm your host Ryan, and today we have one of the last of the E3 interviews, What Remains of Edith Finch. I'm not joking in that segment, it was one of the most memorable demos I've had in any of the expos. Make sure you look it up when it comes out. First off though, we have the forecast.
Before is set in the early ages of humanity, and tasks players with guiding their tribe through a harsh landscape. Coming to PC and Mac this year, the game boasts a unique art style, and is developed by Rust creators Face Punch. This game is looking to have a strong release. The next game from the team behind Gone Home, Tarkoma, takes place on the space station Tarkoma. Not much is known about the game at this time, expect more details in the coming months. The game is coming to PC and Mac in 2016.
Here we go.
This reimagining of the original Ratchet & Clank shares the upcoming film's version of the origin story. With a new engine and new mechanics, this is looking to be a must-buy for Ratchet & Clank fans. It releases this year for PS4.
Yes! I thought it was time to get you a new run.
Locking on! Got him!
The legend of Greyhorn Citadel, known as the origin point of the Daedalus brothers, wizards with power beyond doubt and protectors of the land on numerous occasions. Once every 20 winters comes a time when all apprentices are put to the test to become a member of the Brotherhood. Little is known of the test. There is only one certainty: very few manage to get out alive. Ziggurat is a fast-paced, otherworldly twitch shooting experience with a roguelike aftertaste. Progress through the randomly generated tower to kill an onslaught of enemies that would scare even the most seasoned player. Ziggurat is a roguelike that draws a lot from games like The Binding of Isaac and Torchlight, but it brings some of its own refreshing ideas to the genre by being visually pleasing and very fast-paced, having a distinct Hexen or Doom feel to it. It's also a first-person game, something quite uncommon in the genre. The perspective actually allows for new and interesting game opportunities, and doesn't just feel like a gimmick to stand out in a crowd of similar style games. As you play through the game and accomplish various feats, you'll gain access to new characters. While these are mostly variations on the same theme, trading health for power or vice versa, there are a couple of characters who stand out as being quite different. The vampire loses health constantly, but can replenish it through killing enemies, pushing you to play faster than you normally would. And the Templar only gains mana through knowledge gems, rather than the usual mana crystal pickups. There are a lot of characters, but there's not enough variation between them. It feels like a missed opportunity that could have seen a much wider variety of characters and gameplay styles. Put simply, enemies in Ziggurat are weird. Really weird. There's a man-eating carrot, a floating fish Eye of Doom. Well, you get the idea. There's not a lot of them, but they're certainly unique. After a few runs though, they can get a little repetitive, as you'll not be gleefully murdering anything that you haven't seen before. You'll also come across a collection of standard traps, from floor spikes to wall-mounted arrow launchers, but again there's not a lot of variety to be had here. Adding a larger variety of enemies and traps would certainly add to the replayability and challenge of this title. Your arsenal is fairly basic, but there's a nice amount of variation to fuel the random pickups you'll come across in each level. You will always have your wand, which acts as your basic attack. It has unlimited use and is predictably quite weak, but in a pinch it'll get the job done. You'll gain access to other weapons, from thrown bombs to tridents to fireballs and scatter ice spells. These require mana, which you can replenish through gems that your enemies drop when vanquished. The level layouts in Ziggurat are randomly generated, although you'll quickly become used to the design and there'll never be a moment where it feels like a completely new area. Aesthetically, they don't look bad, but it's the lack of variation that I find bothersome. A game like this absolutely warrants more themes or even tile sets for the RNG engine to draw from. Hopefully Ziggurat will get additional content, as I'd really like to see what they can do with both level aesthetics and new enemies to further my experience with the game. Ziggurat is a nice looking game and it's fun to play, especially if you're interested in games in the same vein as The Binding of Isaac. The lack of variation might limit its staying power, but I'd recommend checking it out, especially if you can grab a copy during a sale.